Hello, my name is Andy Hunter. This is the Braid Valley. It's the end of October and the tops have just been put to the ewes. So this is the start of the Braid Shedding sheep farmers calendar. Oh, and this is Slemish Mountain. Autumn. The Antrim hills are turning brown. The ewe flock has been run on good grazing before going to the top.
Well, I'm Robert White and I live in T-Chloe, not so very far from the Braid Sheddings. I have a farm of about 76 acres and I keep about 18 cows and 55 Scottish Blackface ewes. I can remember them talking about it. My great-grandfather and my grandfather and then my father and myself, we always kept to the Blackface sheep. We always bred rams. I remember my grandfather with the rams, and we always bred rams for the sales. The sales used to be in Belfast, then they were changed to Ballymena, and then now they're in Ballyclare.
And you still carry on the tradition?
I'm still carrying on the tradition, that's right.
Each sheep should have its own personality, its character. It's something I think Blackface sheep have that no other sheep have. It's the character of the sheep. Generally, I'm looking for something that I think will grow well and breed well, breed what I can sell. Something that'll have the characteristics, good characteristics of the Blackface sheep and still maintain its size.
I like a good strong ram. I was in the Perth type, and I like them a good back on them. I call it very important. At the end of the day, you want a good carcass.
The Department of Agriculture in Northern Ireland, they brought in what was known as the premium ram scheme to improve the hill sheep in Northern Ireland. That was, you were paid so much on rams that they selected as eligible for a premium to improve the quality of the wool and the carcass. Now that done a wonderful job, there's no doubt about that, and the hill sheep in Northern Ireland has improved immensely over the past 40 years that I've been connected with them.
Days are shortening, nights are drawing in, winter is on its way. At 800 feet on the Mid-Antrim Plateau, winter snow lies thick. Ewes are heavy on lamb. Now is the time to introduce some feeding.
We run with about 250 or 230 acres of owned land here. We rent a further about 60 acres. We run about 350 black-faced ewes, predominantly Perth type, with about 30 Lanark type ewes, and about 60 replacements every year. We also, on the other farm across here, we milk about 40 milking cows, and on this farm here we have about 40 suckler cows. We originally came from Scotland. I wouldn't just know the family history exactly, but I would say it would be back in my great-grandfather's time, where they came to the hill farms up above Broughshane, Collie Farm and Glenocum Farm. My family moved up here for Collie, I suppose 60 years ago. Most of our replacement stock are all bred on the farm. We bought ewes over the past number of years for the Glen Head flock in Scotland, mainly because we saw that they were big, reachy kind of stock, and we thought our stock needed a wee bit more size, leg below them, and growth. And I think it has definitely helped the ewe end. Come on.
I took over running the farm in 1969 when I married. It was a very much mixed farm then. There were some potatoes, some corn, 10 cows, 30 ewes, and then in the early 70s decided to go do away with the hay and start in silage and erect a silo, give it a shed and milking power.
How many milking cows are you running now?
40 cows. Inherited 30 ewes and I gradually built these up. I usually have about 200 lambs and I like to keep 40 to 45 ewe lambs every year. Sell them ewes before crop down. I can sell them at that age when I keep these ewe lambs. And I can sell better ewes then, and a good demand for ewes. The last couple of years I've sold ewes to Donegal. Very selective in my rams. I've been going for what they call the Perth ewe, but I'm very selective in my type of sheep. I like big sheep, good conformation, and good hair. That's very much tradition at the minute. Sharp, must be sharp.
Easy.
My name's Ian Gibson and I run the family hill farm at Broughshane, out near Ballymena. We have 600 acres of hill land running from 600 to 1100 feet. Our stock is 550 ewes and 52 suckler cows. Our sheep breeds are predominantly Perth Blackfaces at home. We have some Cheviot ewes as well at the home farm, and then the higher land we use Lanark, Newton Stewart type Blackfaces. They're a much smaller sheep and seem to adapt better maybe to the harder keep.
I am James Armstrong from Nayhead Road, Broughshane. I am the present chairman of the Braid Sheddings Association. We own maybe about 80 hectares and we lease over another 100 and our stock at the minute is about 80 suckling cows and a few replacements, 600 pedigree black-faced ewes, 150 grey-faced ewes, which are used by a terminal sire to make fat lamb production. The replacements for both the grey faces and black face are bred on the farm, and we also sell quite a few black face ram lambs every year and about 30 shearlings.
The predominant breed used in lowland flocks in Northern Ireland is the greyface ewe. The Scottish blackface is crossed with the border Leicester ram. In recent years, the blue-faced Leicester has also been widely used to produce the mule. It's not all hard work farming sheep and raising a family.
Especially the kids on this side, I think they're real run out of slope or so.
The winter snow was short-lived. Spring is round the corner. When the whin or gorse blooms in spring, the shepherd's workload reaches a peak. It's 6 in the morning, time to check for lambs born overnight.
There's a lamb here from born through the night here. Here's another.
We would lamb maybe 100, 150 ewes in an old broiler house that we have, but the other 400 ewes all would lamb outdoors. I like outdoor lambing.
Yeah.
If the weather's good, you have less work, but if you have bad weather, you're up against it. I'm looking really for sheep that can lamb themselves and rear lambs themselves, you know, have little input from a shepherd.
Can't find a mother for her.
We dose well, vaccinate well, feed well at lambing time, but I want the sheep after that to be able to look after themselves. Right. I don't want sheep that need too much feeding in the summer and can rear 2 lambs, plenty of milk, and good mothers.
It's early morning, late at night, and if it's really rough night, I'd raise at night just if it's really rough night to look at them. Not easy, but it kind of contents you a bit, you can sleep easier. Scottish blackface are renowned for being hardy, and housing costs a lot of money just for 3 or 4 weeks in the year, and ewes lamp in the house, you can develop disease, and if the weather's reasonable outside, you have the same problems.
The ewe is obviously grazing forage out in the fields, but in a year a lowland ewe would eat approximately 50 kilos of concentrates, but a blackface ewe would eat about approximately 25 kilos per head. But obviously that's concentrated very, very strongly into the 6 to 8 week period before lambing and the 3 to 4 week period after lambing. During the last 6 to 8 weeks of pregnancy, over 75% of the growth of the unborn lamb occurs, and also about 90% of the growth of the milk secreting tissue. At the same time, the space within the ewe's rumen for food is reduced by about a third. Those two things together mean that obviously she can eat less food, so the high energy and good quality protein at that stage is very, very important.
I'm William McGee from Kilwater. About 120 acres, Starbog Road, Kilwater.
And what stock do you carry on it?
30 cows and 200 ewes. We sort of lamb outside and then bring them in.
Yes.
For a day or a bad night or something, you know. They do better out. I like them out, you know, but I like to have them in a night or a day or something just to get on their going right, and then you sort of less bother with them. Once they're on their feet, they're out, and that's them to the day, you know. We sort of keep them maybe down on the fields, you know, for maybe 3 weeks, and then put them up to the hill, you know, and that's Shaun's hill, you know, the News Hill, that's, I suppose, 1,000 foot. Good, hardy, dry ground.
I can put my hand on my heart and say that it is the most uncontaminated product in the food industry today. I'm talking about the Blackface lamb that has been reared on high pasture, away above what you would say the snow line in a lot of cases, and in some of the places you wonder how they survive. And those lambs coming off, and they go on to the Addis or after grass down below, and most of them go away off the dairy farms. And you're getting a product that I could say would be 100% pure.
On the rundale or shared grazing, the flock will stay on their heft, their territory.
To keep your sheep hefted on the one bit of ground or within an area, whenever they use lamb, the ewe lambs always go back to the mountain, to the Rundale mountain with the ewes. And this way they get to know and become accustomed to the area they're grazed on. And it was very seldom they would ever leave that area. You would always get them on them. And the funny thing about it is, sheep that had been brought down to lamb at home, when it come near the lamb, and some of those old girls would have taken off, and the first thing when you were gathering on the mountain, you would have found her there with her lambs, ewes that had gone on in years. And they wouldn't even lamb at home, they would have took off back to the mountain, and lambs would have lambed maybe for 4 seasons or 5 seasons.
One of the earliest shepherds on Rundale was St Patrick. On Skerry Rock stand the ruins of an early church in his name.
St Patrick was supposed to herd sheep on Slemish, and I would say there were a big possibility that they definitely would be black-faced ones. He came back again, and he brought Christianity, and supposed to bring Christianity to Ireland, and well, that's part of the reason, I suppose, the Braid Sheddings Society is going, that we try to, we have all walks of life in it, and we all help each other, and there's all ages and all breeds and generations and all religions in it, and like I learn a lot from going to the meetings now from men that would have a lot more experience than myself.
It's like religion, you're born into it, you believe in it, and you practice it to your death. But if you're going to stay in business, you must be flexible too. There are families like the Whites and the Braid. You can go back 4 generations. You take the Carson family there's 4 generations. Now, go into any of your continental breeds, go into any of your other breeds in Northern Ireland, and get me 4 generations. Well, that's what it's all about. They're in it to make a living. But the terrible lot of the things that we carry on with, like breeding rams and trying to bring out good rams and things like that, they wouldn't pay at all. But it's the love of doing it and trying to, the competition's there to make you try and strive for better things.
I always was interested in farming and agriculture, and I started off with just a few ewes and rented ground, and then I purchased this, and since then I've been here. I farm 48 acres and run about 85 ewes, uncrossed blackface ewes, and 15 store cattle. Years ago, farmers could have made a living out of 40 odd acres. Nowadays that's totally unrealistic. 40 years ago, store lambs were going through the ring at the top price of £5 per head. At the same time, an acre of ground was around £100. So you're talking 20 lambs to buy an acre of ground in those days. At today's prices, at the prices land is going today, you're possibly talking well over 100, 140, 150 lambs to buy the same acre of ground. Part-time farming has become a way of being able to stay interested and stay on the land. It seems over the past number of years it seems to be a thing that's ever on the increase. I would say you're possibly talking 50%, maybe even higher than that. People are becoming less dependent, as it were, on farming. Farming has been is becoming less dependable over the years, and people are looking to a second income if possible. If you weren't interested, you just couldn't manage. Around lambing time, you'd wonder why you do manage. It's the last thing you'd think of, coming home and sitting down to watch the TV.
In this environmentally sensitive area, Sam, a full-time farmer, takes advantage of the Department of Agriculture scheme.
I'm on a 5-year plan. This involves restoring stone ditches, which I like to develop. I think a stone ditch looks well, and it's something that will stand stead in the years to come, and I know not be here. There are two specialist men in the locality. They usually charge around £8, £9 a metre, and the department pays us £6, £7. So it's a reasonably cheap fence, but you have a lot of work. Dikes, a bit of power on them, even they're a bit rough. They're a bit of shelter with them, and it's much better than a wire.
Now all the work of winter and spring in the Braid Valley and beyond has its first showing at Ballymena Agricultural Show. Braid Sheddings members are well to the fore. Sandy Carson takes the rosette for his 2-year-old ram. James Armstrong is a lifelong supporter of the show.
I've been showing sheep since I left the school, really. I'd always a great interest in it, and the first few rosettes I won, I prized them dearly. Showing is a great job to compare your sheep with other breeders, and you know from year to year how you're improving when you see them in the ring with other people's. Also, it's great for meeting, and we have a great sort of companionship together. It keeps us sharp always and knowing, and we're always looking for this one that never arrives, the perfect one.
Hugh Crawford wins with his shearing ram.
Well, I've been showing Blackface sheep as long as I care to remember. It all comes back to the commercial end, where you need size, you need carcass, hind quarters and fore quarters, good shoulders, legs and feet, good legs and feet.
Tom Adams wins with his ram lamb. Hugh Crawford is second.
Finer points, the head and the coat, a good alert head and a good bright eye, a nice cast of horn and good hair in the face. We always maintain that it takes good hair for milk.
Sandy Carson wins the Hogget class. Tom Adams again with a ewe lamb. Will a member win the championship? Sandy Carson is champion with his Hogget, and Hugh Crawford is the reserve with his shearling ram.
Tom Patterson, and I've been here judging the Blackface sheep and the grey faces. I thought it was one of the best classes of sheep I've judged when I've been judging Northern Ireland after quite a while. There was a lot of big sheep, and a lot of them had good quarters on them, which is quite important to me. I like them to have good quarters, because that's where the expensive mutton is. And I like to see a few kilos on them too, because kilos comes to money.
Midsummer, the ewes have had their freedom on the open hills since lambing. Now it's time for gathering for the annual shearing.
A farm here at Carnstrone, we run about 20 suckler cows and their calves and 150 Blackface Joes, about 40 acres and a fifth share in a hill of about 300 acres. So it seems to suit the Blackfaced well, as they're really the only type of ewe I think could survive on the hill with little work to do with them. We wouldn't have any bother with feet, or there's a lot to be said about the heather. and spring would be late here. We're fairly well up, we're about 1,200 feet above sea level, and grass is late coming, and the heather, they seem to be fit to stand it okay. My main line of business, I suppose, would be the building end. We try to keep the sheep just because of so big an interest in the farm, and that with it being handed down through this will be the third generation now. My grandfather and my father and myself, we all farmed here at Carnstrone. Definitely when I was at school, there was nothing in my mind but getting home as quick as I could to get out to the sheep and on the farm, like good healthy air and a good view from Slemish, as I say.
I suppose the first element of diversification was agroforestry. In cooperation with the department, I set up a large agroforestry trial, part of the farm at home, but 30 acres is given over to trees in tubes. They're wide spaced. We graze sheep in between the trees. You can't trim the grass down with cattle. Most of our hill areas get a run of suckler cows and calves every year, sometime or other. The cattle just reach up and eat the leaves. The trees are in now 7 years, and there's a lot of grass yet. I mean, it'll be a long time before the trees merge, you know, a canopy to cut out the light, and be very little grass. We have got 2 derelict farmhouses and a barn on the farm. We have turned them into holiday homes with the help of the tourist board. They will market them for us, and we will do the day-to-day running of the houses with the rural cottage scheme.
Have these troubles that have gone on so long in our province affected you at all?
No, very little. This area here is very peaceful. There's been very little bother in this area. At the moment we're sitting in one of the holiday homes, and there's 300 acres of hill land around this one, so there's not that sort of in this sort of area they get very little trouble at all.
Where we're standing here at the minute at the Glen Head at the top of the Glenarm Glen, farther on up around the coast we have the 9 glens right up around to Ballycastle. We're fairly close across the sea to Scotland. From Fairhead across to the Mullican Tire is only 11 miles. And I suppose that's maybe why, how the Blackface sheep come into Northern Ireland at the start. That was where they came from originally.
We'd like to promote the surrounding area. There's a very good tourist attraction. Our local village is Broughshane here, and you know, everybody knows the words. That is one.
It's a lovely part of the country. Definitely would be glad to see anybody coming to this part of the country to stay for a couple of days. Maybe come to the Braid Sheddings and do the ewe lamb sale and the hog sale, and stay a few days. And we have the Glens of Antrim and the Braid, and we have the good towns of Ballymena and Larne and Ballymoney. Ballymena's renowned for being a good shopping town, and there's a numerous amount of guest houses and bed and breakfast and rural cottages through the glens, and all within good reach of the Braid Shedding sale.
The tapestry of stone dykes and batteries around the sheddings is a legacy of generations of farmers.
When I started at farming first, fields are very small. I think there are only about 2 fields in my own farm that haven't been touched. The rest has been made bigger, some, plenty of them 2-1, some of them more, and I seem to spend my life removing stones and lifting stones.
What actually is a battery?
Well, the battery is about 4 or 5 feet wide, and could be 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 feet high, and this is the community. The stones gathered up through the years has been piled up. Old fellas has suppose in olden times, and nothing but horse and cart and maybe a slipe, and these stones are all raz out of the ground and built in these dikes as called batteries.
The slipe or low sledge for moving heavy objects is long gone. Specialised machinery takes the second cut of silage for the clamp or big bales.
I like the big bales for the sheep, especially from about January to 1st of April before they start to lamb. It's a small quantity of silage, and you like to get fresh silage out to your ewes. A bale would do 25-30 ewes in a week.
I'm Jim McBride, started farming in the Mourne Mountains in 1942 and eventually came up into County Antrim in the late 50s. We run approximately from 650 to 700 sheep, not all breeding ewes, a lot of them would be dry hoggets for the Braid Sheddings, and we would keep all our own ewe lambs for breeding purposes. When I started off years ago myself, everything we had was in a very haphazard sort of fashion. You put up pens and before night you were tramping about in mud. And when my son graduated, he said, well, we'd change that. Some of the things that he wanted to do I thought was a nonsense. Today he's proved me wrong. I can do up to 300 and 400 sheep, drench them, foot bath them and all, well, the dog and me and nobody else. I can shed off the lambs on my own. I can shed the 3 sides. Normally we only use 2. That would be taking the ewes away from the lambs. So the idea is to cut your handling to a minimum, but make sure that you exercise good stockmanship at the same time.
Sandy Carson's lambs have been shed or split from their mothers and sorted into their various groups for sale or keeping. Then it's back to the hill regardless of weather, but some lucky gents can stay in the dry.
The textbook experts all point out a carcass to you by classification on conformation and fat. But they forget the main objective of anything when you're producing a food product, and that is texture and flavour. Right. I can present men to you today that if I put out 4 chops from 4 different breeds, and I'll let anybody come and see him do it, he'll pick you out the Blackface lamb.
We have quite a lot of supermarkets now on our own doorstep, and these people like a quality product 52 weeks of the year. We're going to find it difficult, but I think that knowing the Northern Ireland farmer, sheep farmer especially, I think that he'll be able to meet their demand, and our association will do all we can to forward that and help our members for traceability and quality assured and everything that the supermarket needs, that we'll be able to compete with our foreign competitors.
It's mainly commercial. The wether lamb and the ewe lamb, it's sold for crossing. We try to keep the quality and the stock right through. I mean, if you try to keep buying the best tips every year, it's bound to come back to you and into your stock, right down through your stock. So if you breed for the top end, the bottom end will always be there. The showing is you're no breeding to show. The showing's just the top end of the stock that you have a day or two every year.
In late summer, the Ulster Ram Breeders' Show was held in Ballyclare in time for the breeding season.
I sell 10 ram lambs in Ballyclare yearly, and about a dozen in the Plum, and I've fair enough trade for these.
Tom?
James and Alistair Armstrong win the Ram Lamb class.
89. Judged first to be lot number 89, Alistair Armstrong.
I never won any championships. That's my aim in the future, to win even one championship. It'd be nice to win one in your lifetime.
All quiet for the championship, while buyers for the sale to follow look on.
That's it.
Okay. Hugh Crawford is reserve champion and Tom Adams second reserve.
Reserve champion number 182. This is for Hugh Crawford. Well done, Hugh. Reserve champion 182.
In the sale, James McCurdy's Ram Lamb, filmed by one of the buyers, fetches the top price.
9,500 again for you. At 9,000 guineas.
But now back to the Braid Valley and back a month for the first shedding sale in August.
The Scotchmen that go over here, they called this the Braid Valley or the Broad Valley. The sheep come from all around the surrounding hillsides, you know, for Slemish and Titloy and Callihorn and Longmore and Cleggan, all round that. They come down into the valley then. And had to, in them days, they would have to, drove the sheep there. There were no transport, so the sheddings was an ideal place for to walk them there, you see, and meet up at the sheddings. Yes. I can even remember them walking the sheep to the sheddings, to the Braid Shedding. Well, the sheddings means the crossroads, where the two roads branches off the main road. That would be the sheddings. And way in years gone past, you see, there was called the fair, where the people would have met with their stock. They just had the fair on the roads. Went on from that then to had decided to have an auction. The landlords of this here have been the O'Neills, have been in Cleggan here, and then the McDonalds and the Glenarm side, which is they've been now Lord Antrim. But Sir Hugh O'Neill are still in Cleggan here. They would be the landlords. Still farming. They're still farming. Yes, that's right. Antrim. Lord Antrim still farming. Years gone by, the O'Neills they all sold their lambs at the sheddings. Yes, I remember that well. Very good.
And I well remember this. It's 1968, and that's me as a very young man in the tie in the background, selling sheep for Greenmount Hill Farm on the morning of sale day.
Now, weather prospects for farmers and growers as we join John Wiley at the Met Office. John, what's the outlook for today and the next few days, please?
Well, I'm afraid today getting off to a start similar to yesterday, so a fair amount of cloud around with some rain at first this morning. But things should improve as we go through the course of the morning, with drier and somewhat brighter weather edging into the west, and that'll reach eastern parts during the afternoon. So the afternoon, a mixture of brighter sunny intervals and a scattering of showers. Temperatures up to around 18 Celsius as those winds settle into a moderate westerly. As we go into Saturday, our weak ridge of high pressure moving across the province, so I think the prospect is for fewer showers during Saturday. Some brighter sunny spells coming along, and temperatures with the winds just a moderate westerly up to around 18 or 19 Celsius. Sunday, I'm afraid, not looking quite so good. We've got another weather system in the Atlantic. That's going to be coming across from the west, bringing rather cloudy skies and outbreaks of rain. And once again, I'm afraid some of that rain could be on the heavy side. But with the winds back into the southwest, I think another humid feeling day with temperatures up to around 18 Celsius through the afternoon. As we go into the early part of next week, not a lot changes. The unsettled summer weather pattern continues. So low pressure never too far away, and that means a mixture of sunny spells and showers, perhaps even some longer spells of rain, but perhaps a brief interlude on Tuesday as another weak ridge of high pressure comes across from the west, Martin.
Thanks very much indeed, John Wiley at the Met Office. That is the farming.
It's coming up to 3 minutes to 7 o'clock.
Building, you'll see.
Well, it's there. We've had buyers as far away as Donegal. Really, last year the Donegal people took quite a few pens of replacement stock. They're grading up their blackfaces at the minute, and we've had them as far from the Mournes and from County Kerry.
And then as far as the store lambs are concerned, where would they generally finish up?
Mostly to County Antrim lowland farmers to finish with grass.
The quality of sheep in this particular area is very, very high indeed. They're renowned wide and far for having tremendous quality, and that has done tremendous benefits for them as far as sales of breeding stock. The lambs reared here that go on to other farms for finishing have a tremendous potential for a good growth rates through the finishing period.
The sale over the vast number of years, long before I was associated with the Braid Sheddings, had a reputation for blackface sheep, and this was something that we were keen to keep in this area. And I would be keen to see that the local people benefited from their own reputation, the good reputation that the blackface sheep had around this part of the world. The farms of origin are surrounding the Braid Sheddings, from the hills surrounding the Braid Sheddings, and I think the stock that's sold at the Braid Sheddings should be the local stock from that area.
I come here to the Sheddings every year. Well, I've been coming for the last 6 years, and buy my rams, Ballyclare and Perth, Scotland. I've bought from Sandy Carson and Alistair Armstrong. I've also bought lambs in the Sheddings from the same breeders.
Have they shown an improvement on your stock?
Yes, I have. I think the northern breeders are a good bit ahead of Donegal breeders.
Yeah.
73, 74, 75, 75 outside, 75 in bed, and but if it's 75 in bed now, 6, 76 bed, and but if it's 76, 76, 76, all everybody holding in there now is 76 pounds. That's 76 pounds of base, so don't know right. I'm going to sell them now at 76 pounds. Everybody holding in there now is 70 pounds. We'll live with my selling to try and get them all we can. At 70 pounds a bit, they're on the market. One well if you say. 1, 71, 2, 72, 73, 74, 74 in bed, and but if it's 74, 74, 74, well lads, they go now. Oh, finish, so done all right. I'm going to sell them now at 74 a pound. Yes. Can I? Yes. Where'd the brawling go?
Some people maybe outside Northern Ireland have a different perception of the way people live in Northern Ireland, and just because the society, as I said, there's all different walks of life in it, and I find that we get on very well together. When we go to the sales, nobody seems to be interested in who owns the sheep. It's quality they're looking for, which I get a lot of pleasure in.
Donegal sheep farming has benefited over the years from their contact, from buying the high genetic merit stock that has been bred here with Scotch influence and so on, and I think it has contributed to our output, so it's very important in our territory. It's our aim to try and help to maintain a better livelihood for the people in the hill areas and in the rural areas, so that we'll continue to have this vibrant and active and lively rural population producing this phenomenal product, hill sheep.
Everybody hold them now. At 34.5, they're still cheap. At 34.5, we'll not end. But if it's 50, 50, 50, now 2 men out here now, but if it's 55, 55, 55, on it again.
John Frill, Kerry Keel.
There, but if it's 55, 55, 55, we'll everybody hold on.
And how long have you been coming to the shedding sale?
I've been coming here for 15 years now.
Very good. And you'd regard it as a good
sale,
breeding sale?
We've been coming to the sheddings this last 5 or 6 years or so.
Right.
And it's nice to see a good quality lamb on show here today,
About 30 years we've been coming to Ballymena. Started off at Fairhill and came here to the sheddings. We bought from Robert Hunter and James Armstrong and Gibson and a few of them. That is suppose where it all stemmed from.
You reckon it's showing improvement on your own
yes,
stock?
Yes, it's a big improvement.
Yeah.
We're getting better and better every year,
That's
so
good.
Hope it continues that way. It's be the tastiest lamb you could put on the table.
It was long before my time. It's probably over 40 years now since we have been at the sheddings. Store lambs will travel to the south of the county down. We would have a large number of milkmen and with excess grass who would come here every year to purchase the lambs. You see them coming off the Antrim hills here off Hardkeep and going to their lowland fields where they'll put on weight and do well for them. It has always been well renowned as a sale of top quality stock, especially in the Blackface Joe lamb section, where many of the local noted breeders of pedigree Blackface sheep show their ewe lambs and cast ewes here every year. And they're very progressive farmers in this area, and they always are looking to improve and produce the best quality stock that they can.
The second shedding sale 2 weeks later, held in better weather on concrete, thanks to Hamel merchants.
I'm bit of 60 bid now at 2, 62 bid, I'm bit of 4, 64, 64 bid now, I'm bit of 6, 66, at 8, 60 Adam bid, I'm bit of 8, hold on again, I'm bit of 68, 68, will everybody all out, I'm bit of 8, will everybody all out in behind, I'm bit of 68, will against you all again now, at 8, will everybody all done again there now at 68 pound, I'm bit of 8, will as they go now at 68 pound, oh, but he's still done all right. I'm going to sell them now at 68 pounds, Robert. A tremendous pair of horned horses, a breeder's pair, at 58 pounds. 58, 61 bid. I'm bid about 61 bid now. I'm bid about 1 and bid now. I'm bid about 61, and then you better here again. Well, I'm bid about 1, will everybody all right. I'm bid about 61, but against you filling in there now at 61 pounds. James, you're halfway, that's all. We're doing well. At 61 pound in bed. At 61 pound 2. 62, 63 bed. I'm bid about 3, 4 in bid 5. 65 bed. I'm bid about 65. We'll lift the hammer up now. I'm bid about 5. We'll lift the hammer up at 65 pounds. Still out here. All finished, all done. I'm going to sell them now at 65 pounds. 68 and 70. That's 70 bid now. That's 70 pound. Will everybody hold it again? I'm bit about 70. Hold it again there now at 70 pounds. James could have given that for him as well at 70 pounds. Do you see any more? I'm bit about 70 pound a bit now. I'm bit about 70 pound. Will any more again there anywhere? I'm bit about 70. Any new better there. At 70 pound a bit, you'll never see another pair of sheep like them now. At 70 pound, I'll take a pound again anywhere. I'm bit about 70. Will lift now as they go out. I'm bit about 70 pound. Will hear the hammer up. At 70. Everybody hold it again, all right. For finished, all done. I'm going to sell them now at 70 pounds. 6 and bit 7. I'm bit about 47 bit now. You never seen a good value now. 47 bit. I'm bit about 47 bit now. This is the year to buy them. 48 bit. But everybody else runs scared. 50 pound. I'm bit about 50 pound a bit. I'm 50. Well, bits away down the line. 51 bit. I'm bit about 2. 52 bit. I'm bit about 2. Well, as they go now. For 52 pound. Any new betters anywhere. I'm going to sell them now at 52 pound. 53 bit. I'm bit about 3 now. Any new betters 54 bit. At 54 pound. The hammer up. Go finish. You win now. Bye. 55 and now. All finished, all done, all right. 56 bed at 56 pound. All finished, all done. I'm going to sell them now at 56 pounds. Kelly. I'm bit about 20, 25, all everybody hold on. I'm bit about 5, all everybody hold on again there now at 25 pounds. Just right here. And it's in there. That means got 25. 70, 80, 90, 1, everyone on his own. 15, everybody here. 15 points, anybody here. 15 and again. 19 and ball done. 19, let me start me. 25, 70, 80, 90, 22, they're all going for good stuff. 27.5
The perception of the Hull farm as being a dog and stick job it's long gone. To survive in the market at the minute, I mean, we need to be as far-sighted as any of the continental breeders. We have stock to sell just the same, and we're at to do it to the best of our ability.
Your family farms over here, and it causes a lot of enthusiasm, so I think that the breed is in quite good hands over here because there's a lot of enthusiasm, and I've no doubt that young ones coming on is the way to keep the breed improving.
I would like one of the boys to be interested in farming. It would be very heartening as you get older that someone's there to take over.
So hopefully there'll be a Crawford farming here in the next century.
Well, hopefully there will be.
He must produce what the customer wants. He must have good hindquarters, the expensive bit. The show traits comes later. Our forefathers has had a lot building up the good sheep that we have in this area, and we would hope this would continue into the next millennium.